I'm Tiffany, and this is Towering TBR. All right, I am back for another video in the series for my bingo prompts. If you've joined me recently, I started a January TBR game and have different prompts. Some prompts are there to urge me to pick up a specific book, but other prompts have so many options. And I'm going to present my options to you and have you give me your input on what I should pick whenever I choose these prompts. So today we're going to be talking about the translated books that I want to read. I recently had 2 translated books on my top 12 last year. They were both translated from the Japanese, which I don't have anymore translated by the Japanese, but I have lots of other options. So I'm going to start with the 2 that I don't own. The first is Disoriental by Nagar Javadi, and this is translated from the French. I don't know who by, so I'll put it up with a picture. But it just sounds like a beautiful family story, and I'm really interested in reading it. The other book that I'm interested in reading that I don't own is I Who Have Never Known Men by Jacqueline Hartman. And this is a dystopian book that Emily Fox has been raving about so much. I think Allie also really liked it as well. I'll link both of their channels below. But yeah. Oh, and that was translated from the French. So a lot of these are translated from the French. Seems kind of odd, but oh well. I think I'm going to start with the 3 nonfiction. So I have Monster Human by Kirsty Skomsvold, translated by Becky Crook. And this is translated from the Norwegian. This is her auto-fictional account of being a healthy person, and then she started having such bad chronic fatigue that she got laid up into like a nursing home. And I think because I'm a spoonie and because I have CFS as well, I think it'll be a really interesting book to read. Another Norwegian nonfiction book I have is called One of Us, The Story of the Massacre in Norway and Its Aftermath by, I don't know how to pronounce that, but I'll make sure you can see it. This is an account from 2011. There was a man who attacked people and killed people with guns and possibly bombs. I'm not sure. We have so many here in America that they kind of all run together, quite honestly. But this one I actually remember because it was so drastic, because Norway doesn't have a bunch of shooters typically. But I'm really curious to see what they've implemented since them has kept their numbers so low. I'm sure it's gun control, but we'll see what else. And the last translated nonfiction that I have is Stolen Lives, 20 Years in a Desert Jail by Malika Ofker and Michelle Fitoussi. This is translated by Ross Schwartz, and it's also translated from the French. This is about a woman growing up in Morocco, and she was really close to political leaders, and they lived a very comfortable, cushy life until her father did something that I guess betrayed him, and I want to say they killed him and put his whole family in jail. And this is her account of being put in jail for no wrongdoing that she did, and ultimately escaping. So I think it will be really good whenever I get to it. On to fiction. I have So Long a Letter by Mariama Ba. This is also translated from the French by Modupe Bode Thomas. This is a classic Senegalese book. It's basically a letter. It's a letter addressing her grievances for her society, especially in the lack of women's rights. This is supposed to be very feminist. and from a part of the country I don't really read much from. So I think that'll be interesting. I also have another classic, Hunger by Nut Hampson. This is translated by Robert Bly from, I'm pretty sure it's French, but let's just check. Oh, Norwegian. I have a lot of Norwegian ones as well. This is a classic story about growing up as a struggling artist and what it's like to live in poverty, and I'm just really excited to get to this. I have The Good Son by Yu Jeong-jung, and this is translated from the Korean by Chi Young Kim. I think this is a mystery or thriller. Yeah. His mother is murdered, and he doesn't have any memory of the time before it. So looks like it'll probably be an unreliable narrator, and yeah, looks good. I have Elena Ferrante I have My Brilliant Friend by Elena Ferrante. This is translated from the Italian by Anne Goldstein. So this is a literary fiction novel focusing on a group or a pair of friends. And from what I've heard, I think they're more like frenemies. They're friends for a while and then they do stuff to hurt each other. So this one's not super high on my list, but it is there as an option. Blindness by Jose Saramago is translated from Portuguese by Giovanni Pontiero. And this is a dystopian story about a blindness that affects everyone. White blindness. Yeah. And it's kind of a plague story, but instead of sickness, like respiratory sickness, I think it's a blindness. But I'm really excited to read this. This is, won the Nobel Prize for Literature. And I've just heard so many great things about it. So this is one I'm really keen to get to. All right, we have 3 more. The Elegance of the Hedgehog by Muriel Barbery. This is translated from the French by Alison Anderson. And I don't really know a whole lot about this. I've heard great things about it, but I don't really know what it's about. I think it's a coming-of-age story from a young girl, but I don't know the particulars. So I have the book Small Country by Gaël Faye, translated from the French by Sarah Ardizone. This is about the Rwandan War. This is a novel set in, I think, Burundi, which is a small location near Rwanda. And yeah, I just don't know anything about the Rwanda revolt or genocide. And yeah, it'll be interesting to visit it in a book. And the last book I have is The Heart by Mélis de Carongal. This is translated from the French by Sam Taylor. I have a lot of French books for some reason. But yeah, this is about a guy that goes surfing, and I think he gets a head injury, and so he's able to donate his organs. And I think we follow the recipient of the heart transplant, seeing how their stories are connected. And I think that sounds really good. So those are all my translated options. If you've read any of these and you have an opinion, let me know. Or if you're just interested in hearing my thoughts on any of them, let me know that too. Let's have a chat in the comments below. Thanks. Bye.